Imagine a world without instant communication, without jetliners, without even a reliable map of distant lands. Yet, thousands of years ago, a sprawling network of caravan tracks, often little more than dusty trails, didn't just facilitate the exchange of goods. It quietly, profoundly rewired the entire planet. Picture this. Before hashtags or satellite navigation, a Chinese merchant's bundle of meticulously crafted paper could journey across continents, eventually finding its way into an Italian library. A haunting Persian lute melody, carried by travelers, might echo through the silent halls of a Korean monastery. And a Roman emperor, thousands of miles from its origin, could pay his legions with the shimmering, coveted threads of Chinese silk. What does this tell us? Globalization isn't some 21st century buzzword or a recent phenomenon. It's an ancient, dusty, and incredibly persistent force, often smelling of camels and distant spices. So, consider this your invitation. We're about to embark on a journey along the original information superhighway, a testament to humanity's enduring drive to connect, trade, and explore. Our story truly begins around 130 BCE with a curious Chinese envoy named Zhang Qian. He wasn't looking for trade routes. He was dispatched west by Emperor Wu of the Han Dynasty, seeking military allies against the formidable Xiongnu nomads. What he stumbled upon, however, was far more impactful. Bustling bazaars overflowing with goods and cultures previously unknown to the Han court. He saw powerful heavenly horses from Fergana, tasted exotic grapes, and witnessed a burgeoning demand for the exquisite silky fabrics produced back home. His detailed reports back to the emperor weren't just diplomatic dispatches. They ignited a strategic vision. The Han Dynasty, recognizing the immense potential, began to string together existing local trails, creating a protected corridor for commerce. The result wasn't a single paved road, but a dynamic, ever-shifting tapestry of routes. Think of it less as a highway, and more as a colossal relay race, with merchants and goods being passed from hand to hand at vital oases and trading posts. These weren't just rest stops. They became vibrant cultural melting pots, bustling with languages, ideas, and merchandise from every corner of the known world. By the 1st century CE, the reach of this network was staggering. Imagine buying pepper in Alexandria, Egypt, knowing it had begun its journey in India 2 years prior. This steady, insatiable pulse of demand, spanning continents, forged the world's very first international supply chain. Without this intricate web of exchange, the magnificent domes of Samarkand might never have risen. The canals of Venice might have remained mere waterways without the wealth of Eastern trade. And frankly, your modern-day Starbucks chai latte wouldn't even be a concept. This network didn't just move goods, it moved the very foundations of civilization, creating wealth, fostering innovation, and laying the groundwork for interconnected economies that still resonate today. Silk wasn't merely a beautiful fabric. It was a global phenomenon, a currency, and a symbol of unparalleled luxury and power. Its value was astronomical. A single bolt of this shimmering material could equal a Roman soldier's entire yearly salary. The Romans, utterly captivated by its allure, imported so much of it that their senators grew increasingly alarmed. They even attempted to ban its purchase, fearing it would drain the empire's treasury of its precious gold, a testament to silk's immense economic pull and the early struggles with trade deficits. Meanwhile, back in China, the closely guarded secret of sericulture, the cultivation of silkworms and the production of silk, was a matter of national security. Palace walls concealed the entire process, from the delicate mulberry leaves that fed the silkworms to the boiling of cocoons. Smuggling even a single silkworm cocoon or its precious eggs was an act punishable by execution. This wasn't just about protecting an industry. It was about preserving a monopoly that brought immense wealth and influence to the Chinese Empire. But secrets, like water, eventually find a way to leak. Despite the draconian measures, by 300 CE, mulberry trees, essential for silkworm sustenance, began to sprout in India, carried there by intrepid travelers and perhaps even by cunning spies. From India, the knowledge and practice of sericulture then spread further west, reaching the Byzantine Empire. Once silk production became more widespread, its exclusivity began to wane. It became, in a sense, normal, still prized, but no longer the sole, unattainable luxury. This shift prompted astute merchants and empires to pivot, seeking the next hot commodity. The focus moved to other highly sought-after goods, like tea, fine porcelain, and the revolutionary material we now call paper. This constant pursuit of the next valuable product fueled early forms of economic competition and even sparked what we might call tech races of their era, driving innovation and expanding the range of goods traded across the vast network. The Silk Road wasn't just a conduit for tangible goods. It was a superhighway for the intangible. Traders, monks, scholars, and soldiers didn't just haul bales of silk and sacks of spices. They carried gossip, cherished recipes, and, most profoundly, their gods and philosophies. Imagine the intellectual ferment as diverse cultures met, exchanged stories, and shared worldviews. Buddhism, for instance, embarked on an incredible journey out of India, hitching rides along these very routes. As it traveled, it encountered Greek sculptors in the Gandharan regions of Afghanistan, leading to a fascinating fusion of artistic styles. This cross-cultural dialogue gave birth to the serene, human-like depictions of the Buddha that we recognize today, figures that would eventually journey further east to inspire the iconic statues found in Japanese monasteries. Similarly, Islam spread eastward, propelled not just by conquest, but significantly by trade. Merchants, offering lower taxes and preferential treatment to fellow Muslims, created economic incentives that encouraged conversion. Soon, majestic mosques began to rise in cities like Xi'an, deeply embedding Islamic culture within the heart of China. Even less obvious ideas crisscrossed the continent. Astrology, for example, got a fascinating remix. Greek zodiac signs, carried by travelers and scholars, found their way into Chinese astronomical practices, appearing on Tang Dynasty star maps, a testament to the intellectual curiosity that transcended cultural boundaries. Perhaps one of the most impactful intellectual transfers was that of paper. This revolutionary Chinese invention, a superior medium for writing than parchment or bamboo, slipped westward following a pivotal battle in 751 CE. During the Battle of Talas, Muslim armies captured Chinese papermakers, who then brought their invaluable knowledge to the Islamic world. From there, paper-making eventually reached Europe. It's no exaggeration to say that Europe would scribble its way toward the Renaissance, fostering an explosion of knowledge and literacy, all on sheets born from the ingenuity of Han workshops. Ideas, unlike heavily laden camels, don't need water stops. They simply need open minds and a network to travel upon. This exchange of knowledge laid the foundation for scientific, artistic, and philosophical advancements across entire civilizations, proving that the greatest treasures transported along the Silk Road were often invisible. While the Silk Road fostered incredible connections and advancements, it also served as an unwitting conduit for something far more sinister: disease. Exchange, as history often reminds us, cuts both ways, bringing not just prosperity, but also peril. The most devastating example of this dark side of globalization occurred in the mid-14th century. In 1346, fleas, carrying the deadly Yersinia pestis bacterium, hitched a ride on rats from Central Asian caravans. These silent, microscopic stowaways then boarded Genoese ships docked in the Crimean port of Kaffa. From there, the Black Death embarked on its terrifying journey across Europe. The consequences were catastrophic. The plague wiped out at least 1/3, and by some estimates, closer to half of Europe's population. Entire villages were decimated, social structures crumbled, and the sheer scale of death was unimaginable. Yet, paradoxically, this horrific event also shattered the rigid system of feudalism. With fewer workers surviving, labor became a precious commodity. Peasants who once toiled for meager wages now had leverage, demanding better pay and conditions. This demographic shift inadvertently jump-started urban economies and laid some of the groundwork for the social mobility that would characterize later centuries. Meanwhile, the plague's devastation wasn't confined to Europe. China, the very origin point of many Silk Road goods, also suffered immense losses, perhaps half its population succumbing to the disease. This catastrophic demographic collapse contributed to the weakening and eventual toppling of the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty, paving the way for the rise of the native Ming dynasty. A single microscopic stowaway carried along ancient trade routes, quite literally rewired politics and societies from Beijing to London. This grim chapter in history serves as a stark reminder that globalization's dark side isn't a modern invention. It simply rode more primitive, yet equally effective, pack animals back then. It underlines the profound, often unpredictable impacts that interconnectedness can have on human civilization. By the 13th century, a new power emerged that would temporarily unify and supercharge the Silk Road: the Mongol Empire. Under their vast dominion, stretching from Eastern Europe to East Asia, the Mongols fostered an unprecedented era of peace and security, often referred to as the Pax Mongolica. They didn't just conquer, they connected. Their ingenious postal relay system, known as the Yam, tied the vast Asian continent together more tightly and efficiently than even modern-day FedEx. This network, with its regularly spaced post stations every 30 miles, allowed not only official communications, but also merchants, who carried special trade passes called paisa, to travel safely and rest, fostering an incredible boom in commerce and cultural exchange. During this period, the flow of knowledge accelerated dramatically. Gunpowder, originally invented in China for fireworks and rudimentary weapons, reached Syrian battlefields within decades, fundamentally altering the nature of warfare. This wasn't a one-way street, however. Knowledge flowed in both directions. Persian doctors avidly translated Chinese medical texts, eager to glean insights from Eastern healing traditions. Concurrently, Arab scholars, renowned for their advancements in mathematics, taught their sophisticated algebra to Chinese scholars, enriching Eastern scientific thought. The lesson here is profound. When security is strong, when roots are protected and stable, technology and ideas rocket across continents, transforming societies at an astonishing pace. However, this golden age of overland trade was not to last forever. As the Mongol Empire fragmented and new powers rose, the security of the Silk Road began to erode. The most significant shift came with the rise of the Ottoman Empire. In 1453, the Ottomans captured Constantinople, effectively closing off many of the traditional land routes to the east. This geopolitical blockade had monumental consequences. Europe, suddenly cut off from its lucrative supply of spices, silks, and other exotic goods, was forced to seek alternative paths. This desperation spurred a new age of exploration, driving European powers to sail west, famously accidentally stumbling upon the Americas. The Silk Road didn't simply fade into obscurity, it evolved. Its spirit of global connection and trade, its relentless pursuit of new markets and resources, simply transitioned from dusty overland trails to vast oceanic highways, forever altering the course of human history and ushering in the Age of Discovery. Today, the echoes of the ancient Silk Road are remarkably strong, particularly in initiatives like China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. This ambitious modern project revives the playbook of ancient connectivity, constructing new ports, building extensive rail networks, offering strategic loans, and fostering cultural centers across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Chinese-built train lines now efficiently transport goods from Chongqing all the way to Germany in a mere 12 days. A remarkable feat that mirrors the ancient camel caravan timetables, but at bullet train speeds. It's a powerful illustration of how the fundamental desire for efficient global trade endures. Meanwhile, along the very routes where ancient caravans once toiled, UN heritage sites now bustle with tourists. These modern travelers, clutching their ubiquitous smartphones, unknowingly carry devices containing rare earth metals, some of which are mined in the very deserts that ancient caravans once dreaded navigating. The landscape has changed, the technology has advanced, but the underlying human impulse to connect, to trade, and to explore remains. The Silk Road, in essence, never truly closed. It simply transformed, swapping the patient tread of camels for the roar of container ships and high-speed trains, and trading the jingle of caravan bells for the ping of digital notifications and hashtags. It's a living testament to humanity's persistent drive for interconnectedness, a drive that began millennia ago on those ancient, dusty trails. If this incredible tapestry of ancient connections has sparked your imagination, perhaps even blown your mind, consider tapping that subscribe button. Your brain will get more fascinating history detours and insights every single week. And while you're here, drop a comment below. Which enduring Silk Road invention could you absolutely not live without today? Would it be the elegant simplicity of paper, the comforting ritual of tea, or the foundational logic of algebra? We'd love to hear your thoughts. So, the next time you savor the warm spice of a cinnamon roll, stream a captivating documentary on a paper-thin tablet, or engage in a lively debate over a cup of coffee, take a moment to reflect. Remember that these seemingly everyday threads of our modern lives were intricately knotted on the Silk Road centuries ago. It was a vast 4,000-mile skein of commerce, punctuated by moments of terror, illuminated by flashes of genius, and imbued with an enduring sense of wonder. This incredible network stitched humanity together, connecting disparate cultures and economies long before the advent of Wi-Fi. Globalization, therefore, isn't a fleeting trend. It's our oldest, most persistent habit. And its birthplace wasn't some modern financial hub, but a dusty trail where, perhaps, a merchant once passionately argued over the price of a single precious bolt of silk, unknowingly laying the groundwork for the interconnected world we inhabit today.